and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okuru. Talks between the federal government and labor unions in Nigeria on the increase of fuel price ended in a deadlock on Monday night. The meeting was rescheduled to Tuesday after both parties could not reach an agreement. Before the meeting, the Nigerian Labour Congress insisted it would carry out its planned strike action come Wednesday to protest the recent hike in fuel price. The strike will be indefinite and will also cover airports, seaports and banks. The Nigerian government last week Wednesday announced the removal of fuel subsidy. The product, which used to sell for 86 naira per litre, now sells for 145 naira per litre. Before the increase in the price of petrol on May 11th, the union had earlier proposed a new minimum wage of 56,000 naira, insisting that the increment was long overdue. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Ibe Kachiko has told members of the House of Representatives that the Nigerian government had no option than to increase the price of fuel. He was speaking after being summoned by the Nigerian lawmakers over the hike in fuel price. He said the fuel subsidy removal was because of the diminished foreign exchange supply situation in Nigeria. This forced marketers to stop importation and imposed over 90% supply on the Niger State oil firm since October 2015. The House of Representatives cut short its resumption of plenary by one day from Tuesday to Monday to take a position on the issue of the removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government. In 2012, the House had convened a similar session to oppose the decision of the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan to remove fuel subsidy. Amid the mounting opposition from across Nigeria, the Jonathan-led administration later settled for a pump price of 97 naira per litre. The Code of Conduct Tribunal today continued the corruption trial of Niger Senate President Bukola Saraki. Saraki is facing a 16-count charge of alleged false declaration of assets while he was governor of Kwara State. At the hearing last week, chairman of the tribunal, Danladi Umar, said he was adjourning the trial to give both the prosecution and defense team some time off. The defense team has also been accused of plotting to delay the corruption trial. Former Niger Delta militant leader Government Ekpemupolo, also known as Tampolo, has slammed the Nigerian army over the raid in Okporazu community in Gabaramatu Kingdom of Delta States. The military had raided the community in search of the militant group the Niger Delta Avengers, who claimed responsibility for attacks on oil pipelines in the Niger Delta region. In a statement released, Tampolo expressed disappointment at the raid. The army on Monday said it had arrested some members of the group. The attacks have cut Niger's output to 1.65 million barrels per day from 2.2 million barrels per day at the start of the year. Pipeline attacks and violence have risen in Niger's oil-rich region since authorities issued an arrest warrant in January for Tampolo on corruption charges. Earlier this month, Tampolo denied being part of the Niger Delta Avengers. The United Kingdom has said President Muhammad Buhari needs to address grievances in the Delta region where militants have been blowing up oil pipelines. The resurgence of pipeline attacks have become a major concern for Nigeria, who depends solely on crude oil for 70% of government revenue. British Foreign Minister Philip Hammond said President Buhari needed to deal with the root causes because a military confrontation could end in disaster. Militant group the Niger Delta Avengers, who have claimed responsibility for the string of pipeline attacks, have faulted President Buhari, a Muslim from the northeastern region of the country, of not paying a visit to the Christian Niger Delta region since taking office a year ago. The Inspector General of Police for Solomon Arase has directed all commissioners of police in the state commands and Abuja to mop up prohibited firearms within their areas of responsibility. This comes as the police force says it is concerned about the increasing number and use of prohibited firearms in some parts of Nigeria. Police spokesperson Olabisi Kolawole, in a statement issued on Tuesday, said persons in possession of non-prohibited firearms should immediately obtain or renew their licenses before July 2016. She said the intelligence and operational assets of the Nigerian police force would soon be redeployed to fish out, arrest and bring to justice any person who fails to voluntarily surrender firearms in their possession or fails to obtain new required licenses for non-prohibited firearms. Lagos State has officially joined the League of Oil-Producing States in Nigeria following the discovery of crude oil. Governor Akinwumi Ambode confirmed this, saying the crude oil had been discovered by Tunde Folawiyo Petroleum Company Limited in Badagry, Lagos State, southwest Nigeria. According to the governor, as an oil-producing state, the 13% derivation that is due to oil-producing states will now be enjoyed by Lagos. The company in charge of the operation said the discovery of crude oil in Lagos State took over 25 years to achieve. President Muhammadu Buhari has encouraged states to look inwards and start generating revenues for themselves rather than depend on revenue from the federal government. Former governor of Kano State and Nigerian Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso has visited the Mile 12 market in Lagos State, southwest Nigeria. The senator had gone to the market to update the traders on efforts to secure the release of about 70 people out of the 300 people arrested during a clash between traders of the Hausa and Yoruba tribe. The ethnic clash, which grounded business activities in the state, led to the death of about 7 people. This led the Lagos State government to order a relocation of the Mile 12 market.
I am here in my 12 market to condole and to commiserate with our brothers and sisters who are doing business here in Mile 12. I'm sure you all remember that on 3rd of March this year, there was an incident around this area. Unfortunately, many people were arrested, including members of this market, who are over 340. They are all detained. We have worked so hard over this month to ensure that everybody gained freedom. I'm happy to say that only 71 are still in detention as I am speaking now. And even though 71 who are told the conditions for their bail, and the condition, among others, was a payment of 65,000 naira. We negotiated, decided to pay. We have paid the money, and now they are in the process of ensuring that all of them are released on bail. People from the northern part of the country have been in Lagos, especially this market, for many, many years, about 4 decades now. And they are doing their businesses. And we are very happy. Just like we have so many other people from the southern part of Nigeria, especially from Lagos, who are in Kano, who are in Sokoto, who are in Maiduguri. They are all over the country doing their legitimate businesses. And we will continue to support them. We will continue to ensure that they succeed. Let me, at this point, also appeal to the government, especially the governor of Lagos State, to emulate what has been happening in the last decades, especially if I may speak of the recent developments during the days of my brother, my friend and leader of APC at national level, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his successor, Fashola. We have been working together with them as brothers. We have been working together to ensure peace here and also to ensure peace on the other side of the country. Now I want him to emulate that, especially in the context of issue of moving the people of this market to a remote area, remote part of Lagos. I remember, going by history, this market about 40 years ago was just like a bush. It was just like a forest. Our people, both from the north and this part of the country, worked so hard to ensure that this market was a success, just as we are seeing it today. For any governor, in my opinion, to come now and say, look, I am moving you to another bush after 40 years, probably with no compensation, no nothing, I don't believe that is a fair deal.
The Nigerian government has pledged support for policies made by the Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Babachir David Lawal, was speaking at an event organized by the FRSC. He commended the agency for its role in ensuring road safety in Nigeria. FRSC Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi acknowledged the enormous task confronting the Corps while also soliciting the cooperation of all Nigerians.
This administration is committed to the ideals of road safety and will continue to demonstrate its support for the Federal Road Safety Corps in its commitment to ensuring safety on the nation's roads. Government is aware of the various policies and programs put in place by the Corps to effectively manage the nation's highways, including the Road Transport Safety Standardization Scheme, reforms in the licensing system of the country, and the operational mechanisms being put in place to address the menace of road traffic accidents in the country. I assure you that government will continue to demonstrate the necessary support for the success of all road safety programs in Nigeria. That is why this administration expediently approved the Nigerian Road Safety Strategy document as recently endorsed by the National Economic Council during its last sitting. Let me stress that road safety is not the exclusive preserve of the federal government alone. Every Nigerian is an active participant in the collective efforts to ensure safe monitoring environment. For the avoidance of doubt, the Nigerian Road Safety Strategy document spelled out the role that all tiers of government, including the private and public sectors, as well as stakeholders, could play in funding road safety activities in the country. Government is also aware of the commitment of the Federal Road Safety Corps to road safety campaigns, as its efforts continue to receive local and international accolades, including the World Bank, which sees the Corps as the best example of a road safety lead agency in Africa. Despite the numerous successes recorded by the Corps, there are other areas of road infractions that border on safety requiring urgent attention of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Notably, there is the lingering issue of violation of one-way traffic by road users within cities and interstate roads, which has continued to cause fatal accidents. Also, there is the recurring problem of overloading of humans, animals, and other cargo beyond the approved capacity of the vehicles, especially by commercial road users, ostensibly to maximize profit, but with attendant consequences on the longevity of our roads and safety of the passengers. One additional road hazard of immense safety implication is the poor handling of cargo containers during haulage. There are numerous instances where poorly handled cargo containers have fallen off their haulage trucks on hapless road users. This phenomenon has contributed to several avoidable deaths every now and then. I call on the leadership of Federal Road Safety Corps to take note of these observations with a view to tackling them headlong.
As we are aware globally, the task of managing motorization and road transportation is often fraught with daunting challenges. While in Africa is noted to have suffered the greatest burden from the consequences of road transportation, the peculiarities of the Nigerian socio-political environment appear to make the accomplishment of this task even more difficult. In Nigeria, virtually every family has been affected directly or indirectly by the consequences of road traffic crashes. Our determination in this regard cannot and will not be least compromised, because the lives of our citizens using these roads is vital to our social economic renewal and indeed national transformation. I therefore enjoin every road users to take responsibility for his or her personal safety and other destructive tendencies while using the highways. You are advised to comply with road traffic regulations and avoid road rage, contest situations, and other road traffic infractions.
The Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party has elected Senator Walid Jibril as the substantive chairman. The meeting was held at the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja, the nation's capital. Jibril, until his election, was PDP's trustees' acting national chairman and secretary. The board also appointed the former Minister of Transportation, Ojo Maduekwe, as its secretary. Meanwhile, national chairman of the PDP, Ali Modu Sheriff, has withdrawn the draft for the party's proposed constitutional amendment. Since its fall at the 2015 general elections, the PDP has been embroiled in a series of leadership crises. In February this year, the PDP Board of Trustees rejected the appointment of Sheriff as PDP chairman. There have also been several criticisms about the manner of his emergence and also questions about his integrity. 13-year-old Nigerian filmmaker Zuriya Oduwole is no stranger. She has interviewed about 19 world leaders. Recently, she interviewed Nigerian President Muhammad Buhari. She talked to him about education, the success of his fight against corruption, and the legacy he intends to leave after his tenure in office.
Last month, I was in Namibia to meet with President Gangog as he celebrated his first anniversary as president. Now, his priority for Namibians was education. Next month, it would have been a year since you became president. What would you say your priority for Nigerians has been?
Security. And I said it a long time, even before the election, that Nigeria, at this stage of development, has three fundamental priorities. One, security. The country has to be secure before it can be efficiently managed. Secondly, the economy. Employment. Nigerian population, more than 60% is youth, and youth are described from 35 years and below. Most of them are unemployed, whether they do school or not. So this is a very serious threat to national security. And then, of course, the side one is corruption, how to fight corruption.
Right. Yeah. Now, in the last many months, on the news about Nigeria, the most topic has been on corruption and how your government is trying to fight the corruption. How successful will you say this fight has been?
Well, it has been successful in the sense that we have identified areas where most damage has been done to the economy in the sense of lack of accountability in the oil sector, which is the main source of revenue in the country. Secondly, how people who have been trusted with the treasury having been honorable enough to account for what they have been taking from the treasury. I think Nigerians have seen that clearly by the amount of money is recovered and the number of people that are now under lock and key until they account for what they have taken. So I think under the system, the 1 year has been a very busy one in terms of recovering Nigeria's misplaced resources due to lack of accountability. And even my coming here to the United States is one of the issues we have discussed with Secretary of State Kerry. And we received very positive signs from the United States government that the United States government will cooperate with those Nigerians who have launched a lot of money that cannot be properly accounted for. It will be returned to Nigeria.
Is there anything else you'd like to add or anything else you'd like to say on any topic?
Well, what I like to see or to add is that I need the understanding and support of everybody to try to understand the situation Nigerians find themselves in and the effort the government is making to improve things in line with three identified fundamental issues: security, economy, and fighting corruption. We want people to make an attempt, a genuine attempt to understand that, and the efforts we are making to make sure that we deliver.
We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll look at business and sports stories. Stay tuned.
comedy time once again. Chapel of Comedy with Nehi, featuring Igor, Elenu, MC Abe, MC Shakara, Emeka Smith, Bash, and many more.
Music by Tim Godfrey. Special guest appearance Omotolai Kehinde, Charles Inoje. Venue Golden Tulip, Amodofin, Festive Town, Lagos.
Date 22nd May 2016, time 5 p.m. Blue carpet 4 p.m. Ticket regular 2,000 naira, VIP 5,000 naira, table for 5 50,000 naira.
For ticket bookings and inquiries, please call 086-237-2051 or 089-187-1640. Powered by Gospel Life Entertainment. 100% clean joke.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching the Funny White Man Show, which is the biggest, the brightest, and the most entertaining show in Africa.
Funny white man, but this way you talk, it's too much.
Yes.
Give me 5,000 man, that's you. It's too much. So you get it like, Messi over along the street. Yeah, Messi like there, I'm going girl. You know, my own people. Actually, yeah, fine, it's fun. I enjoy it, and I'm one of those very few.
I'm forever taking it personal. I will say 160 million Nigerians are corrupt. How? My brother, I'm looking for you.
Yeah, but it's a growth, and this is the time to build business and know the pitfalls and know what to do and what not to do. But there are months where you get business and months.
You know how we do, how we train them. We did the way you did.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching Trending Matters on the Funny White Man Show. Of course, we will bring you trending issues just to entertain and tickle your fancy.
Welcome back. The National Bureau of Statistics says annual inflation in Nigeria rose to a near 6-year high of 13.7% in April. This was in part due to rising petrol and electricity prices. Nigeria, which is Africa's biggest economy, is facing its worst economic crisis in decades, driven by a sharp drop in crude oil prices. Gross domestic product growth was just 2.8% last year, its lowest rate in decades. Food supplies, which account for the bulk of the inflation basket, rose by 13.2% in April, up 0.4 percentage points from March. Inflation has also been fueled by pressure on the naira, which on Monday slipped to its weakest level in months against the dollar. The Central Bank of Nigeria has denied a report stating Nigeria plans to devalue the naira currency again. Speculation of a devaluation has been rife since Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said the central bank needed to change its foreign currency policies to spur investment in the country. President Buhari has so far resisted calls by the IMF and investors to devalue the Nigerian currency. Just last week, Osinbajo said Nigeria needed a substantial review of its foreign exchange policies and would see very soon a much more flexible approach. Asked whether Nigeria needed to devalue the naira, Osinbajo said there is an ongoing debate about the issue, but it was too early to say whether such a move made any sense. Oil traded at around $49 per barrel on Tuesday within sight of a 6-month high supported by supply outages in Nigeria, Canada and other producers currently eroding a persistent glut. Brent crude traded at a 6-month high of $49.47 per barrel, while U.S. crude was up 33 cents at $48.05 per barrel. Nigeria oil output has been cut short by almost 40% in recent weeks. In Canada, the sudden movement of a wildfire prompted the evacuation of some 4,000 people from work camps outside the oil hub of Fort McMurray. Supply from non-OPEC countries is expected to fall this year. This has also driven the crude oil price. Ugandan opposition figure Kizza Besigye has been transferred back to a prison in the capital of Kampala. His lawyer said Besigye had been earlier taken to a court in the country's remote northeast region to face a charge of treason. Besigye lost to veteran leader Yoweri Museveni in Uganda's February 18th presidential election. He was charged with treason late on Friday for unlawfully declaring himself winner of the presidential election and being sworn in as president in a mock ceremony. Besigye rejected the poll's results, alleging widespread vote rigging, a biased electoral commission, and intimidation by security agents. Kenyan police fired tear gas and water cannon at stone-throwing crowds protesting in central Nairobi. The protesters were against an election oversight body they say is biased and should be scrapped. Officers armed with batons confronted hundreds of protesters outside the offices of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC), the third clash over the issue in less than a month. The opposition cold coalition led by Raila Odinga, who lost the 2013 vote, has accused the IEBC of bias and said its members should quit office. Moving on to sports, the management of Plateau FC has sacked the club's technical advisor, Zachary Baraje, over poor results. The club has also accused the coach of being unable to work with other coaches. Baraje has been named was named the technical advisor of the Jos side few days after Bala Nkiyu was handed the Nigerian under-17 women's team as the coach. West Bromwich Albion striker Victor Anichebe is leaving the Premier League club after nearly 3 years at the Houghtons. The 28-year-old Nigerian international has scored 6 Premier League goals in 30 appearances since joining West Brom. He joined the team from Everton in 2013. His contract expires next month. Leicester City manager Claudio Ranieri has been named the Manager of the Year by the League Managers Association. The 64-year-old Italian becomes the second non-British manager to claim the prestigious award after Arsenal's Arsene Wenger, who won it in both 2002 and 2004. Ranieri was also named the Premier League Manager of the Year at Monday night's award dinner in London. Ranieri joins two of his players in Jamie Vardy and Riyad Mahrez with national awards after Leicester City won the Premier League this season. Well, that's all we have on News Now. Thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.